Outdoor Warehouse brings you the For Every Adventure podcast, where seeking adventure is a lifestyle. From racing rhinos to cereal-eating badgers, today was fun.
It's been an exciting episode.
It certainly has.
So these are some of the things that the SANParks Honorary Rangers come to see every day as part of their work. So it's been really amazing finding out more about them, their organization, and how you can get involved.
The passion, the love, they're all volunteers, and Jimmy has so much info. Let's dive in.
Take the plunge into outdoor adventures with Outdoor Warehouse and the For Every Adventure podcast.
Hey, welcome to the podcast. My name is Kyle. Hello, Chanel.
Welcome. Hi, Kyle. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
Fantastic.
I know, like, within the first 3 sentences of every podcast, I say, I'm so excited for today's podcast. And it truly is the case every
But
time.
You are, yes.
Yes, today I'm very excited. We've got a great conversation coming up with Jimmy. He's the CEO from SANParks Honorary Rangers. And I don't want to give too much away in this opening part of the podcast because there's so much we're going to discuss. And I just want to read you one little section from their website. The SANParks Honorary Rangers movement is open to people, and this is key, with a passion for nature and a dedication to supporting the South African national parks. They facilitate various activities through which the public can become involved in support of SANParks and enjoy the wonder of our natural heritage. And that's so key, I think, to the conversation we're going to have today.
Yes.
People with passion, with love for nature, who they volunteer to do this work. And I can't wait to find out what that involves.
Yeah, so if you're passionate about nature as well, please tune in, stay with us. This is the For Every Adventure podcast. Climb in as we learn everything we need to know about the great outdoors.
Rediscover the joy of camping with Outdoor Warehouse. Pitch your home away from home with our wide variety of tents and sleeping bags for any season. Unwind in our hand-picked camping furniture for ultimate relaxation. And keep things cool with camping fridges and freezers from the biggest brands. Your camping adventure starts at Outdoor Warehouse. Available online or in-store. Outdoor Warehouse. For every adventure.
It's always great to speak to the expert when you want to find out more about something specific. So today we're chatting to Jimmy Telle, and he's the CEO. And they call it SHR because it is a long name. It's the SANParks Honorary Rangers. So welcome, Jimmy. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be part of your podcast. Thank you for the opportunity.
So, Jimmy, let's start at the beginning. That's the logical place, the logical way to do it. What are the SANParks Honorary Rangers and what do they do?
To try sum it up in a few sentences, the SANParks Honorary Rangers is as you've quite correctly said at the opening, a group of very passionate volunteers who provide a service to SANParks. We do everything from working in the parks, fundraising activities, education, trying to enhance the experience that tourists will have when they come to the national parks, but also to start educating people outside of the parks on what conservation and our national parks are all about. So we're very privileged to be a part of it. We've been going now for 60 years. This 2024 is our 60th anniversary. We started in 1964, and when the Honorary Rangers first started, you were only allowed to have 500 Honorary Rangers doing duty. You had to go on a waiting list.
Okay.
Wow.
Fortunately, we've evolved since then, and we now have over 2,200 volunteers nationwide. We even have members in the United Kingdom who assist us with fundraising activities, follow social media posts, and pretty much participate in any kind of activity where we can promote SANParks as well as encouraging tourism to our national parks.
That's wonderful. You speaking about volunteers, and that always to me is so amazing how people would decide to give of their own time and of themselves to something like this. So I want to ask you, is it a specific type of person, or do you find just like ordinary people from all walks of life that just feel like they need to do this for the environment?
No, it's every person from any walk of life. The SANParks Honorary Rangers is open to anybody, and our key driver is a passion for conservation and for the wildlife. Without the passion, why would you want to volunteer?
Yes.
So even unfortunately, there's administrative tasks that go with any organization of this size, and we do have members who sit in offices who do provide a service there as well, but it's not a full-time position. Majority of our members are still working.
Yeah.
So the volunteer work that they are doing is after hours or on weekends when they have the opportunity to get into a national park. We have extensive number of retired persons who have enjoyed the national parks over all the years and now want to give something back. And that's where they participate. So our organization is open to anybody who wants to join. There's no limitation and there's no requirement. It can go from an accountant even up to a lawyer. And I know I'm going to get criticized for that, but we have a lot of lawyers in our organization.
Even up to, okay.
Yeah, even up to. Yeah. We have engineering persons. Anybody who has any type of skill their services can be utilized in any of the national parks. So we don't limit it. We want as many people to participate as possible.
That's just wonderful.
I think the fact that there used to be a wait list for the volunteers just restores my faith in humanity.
It does.
So much. Jimmy, take us back 60 years to the very beginning. How did the Honorary Rangers come to be?
The Honorary Rangers started more as SANParks required services and support in certain areas that you did not necessarily have full-time employees for. And the Honorary Rangers then came along and provided those services. So if you look at the SANParks being part of a much larger government organization, there's obviously certain restrictions. And being a volunteer, you can then go in and assist. And our services are considered a critical part to SANParks because without our services, the SANParks organization would actually have to pay for these services. And if we've just recently released our 2023 integrated report, and last year our members did 313,000 hours of duty.
Goodness me.
And we raised over 80 million rand for SANParks. Now, to show that the contribution that the organization has made is enormous. Over the last 8 years, we've contributed just over 250 million rand in services and assets to SANParks.
That's incredible.
And SANParks would normally have had to pay for that. Now we've contributed it to them and they can use their funds for other operational expenses within the parks. And that's what it's all about and how it started. The SANParks Honorary Rangers, we are not rangers. We don't do a physical work with animals. We will only provide support services.
Okay.
So if you see on the TV the rangers who are going out on the veterinary services, darting animals for medical purposes, removing snares, those are the SANParks Rangers. We would provide a service to ensure that there's items such as fuel for the helicopters, that there's medical equipment, all of those kind of services. We assist SANParks in acquiring that.
That sounds great.
We do have certain activities that do require a certain level of fitness. So, for example, in the Kruger National Park, there is and it's been highlighted in the news, there's a large concern around snaring of animals along the rivers and along the borders.
Yes.
Now, our snare teams will go out for 3 to 4 hours walking at a time. And sometimes the heat goes up to 40 degrees. They go walking along the rivers with rangers who are protecting them with rifles. And they will remove snares that they find in the bush. That is hard work. It takes a lot of time. And the teams do fantastic work. Within a 3-hour period, you average about 100 snares that they remove out. And unfortunately, sometimes they do encounter animals still in the snares. It's one of the difficult situations that we do. But then again, we have items such as our public education and awareness programs, where anybody who has a passion or a knowledge of plants or birds or mammals, scat, tracking, spoor, any of those items, anybody can then go into the general public, and we do presentations. And we have stands at exhibitions where we can then promote exactly what we do. So there's no limitation on who can join the Honorary Rangers. We will find something for you to do. There is enough work.
It sounds good, because there's a space for the brave ones who don't mind walking by the river while there's so many hippos and whatever, crocodiles. And then there's other roles where you kind of can use some of your own sort of personal skills and your professional life skills to bring to it, which makes it amazing.
It is. I think that's the nature of such a diverse organization, is no matter who joins the organization, we will find something for that member to do. There is so much to do in conservation and tourism in South Africa. And having 21 national parks around the country, there is activities taking place in every park every day. And we will find something, even if it's just walking along the road with the rangers, picking up litter. It's something that everybody can participate in.
Chanel, you and I can go and just talk to the animals. I think that's our skills. We can just chat to the animals and maybe have a chat with the park ranger doing the walk.
My goodness.
Yeah, I think we've got a skill.
What, like a hippo whisperer? Carl?
Yes, definitely. So what is expected from the newcomers, Jimmy?
So when members want to join the organization, there's no real entry into it. You would come along to a meeting in the region where you live. It's easier that way. So we have 31 regions around South Africa, which allows every member to find a region close to their residence.
Okay, that makes sense.
They would then go to a meeting, get an introduction to what the SANParks Honorary Rangers is all about. There is an initial training course for all new members, which entails exactly what is expected of a SANParks Honorary Rangers. What work do we do in the parks? How do we expect our members to act and interact with the public? And that is the only requirement. We do have obviously, like any organization, we have a membership fee. And we require of all our members, whether you're a new applicant or you're a full member, we just require 50 hours of duty a year.
Okay.
And on that 50 hours, that's only 4 hours a month. If you go into a park for a weekend, that's pretty much 20 hours done. And the advantage with that is SANParks has given us the privilege of issuing our members who do the duties with wildcards so that they get the access into the SANParks parks free of charge to be able to perform these duties. So that is a nice benefit that our members do get.
I just wanted to know if you're restricted to the area that you stay in, like because there are 21 different parks. Can you sort of decide to volunteer in a completely different area?
Most definitely. So part of our introduction is we have park introduction courses. So every national park, we present a course on the structures of the park, the management, the geology, the fauna and flora, the services that are there. If a member has undertaken that introduction course, they can do a duty in that park. So if you're from Cape Town and you've done the Kruger National Park introduction course, you can go do duty in the Kruger National Park. We allow our members to travel around the country so that they participate in activities where they want to. So you're definitely not restricted.
That's very good to know.
Let's chat about the fundraisers and the initiatives you have launched. Give me an example of one of these.
Certainly. We're very fortunate in that we do have access to the national parks to do a lot of fundraisers. We're increasing our sporting activities quite a bit now. And for all those who know Marakele National Park, which is up in Tabazimbi, 3 hours north of Johannesburg, every year we have the Marakele Marathon, which is actually a Comrades qualifier. Marakele Marathon does have a vulture spotting section at the top of the mountain. And for the marathon runners who do 42 kilometers, I have no idea how they get up and get down again, but they do it. And it's a qualifier. And people love it because you're running in Big Five territory.
Wow.
We're also starting a Marakele mountain bike event in May. We basically support the Cape Cycle Tour. And I think one of our biggest achievements lately is we have just been appointed as one of the 6 charities of the Comrades Marathon. So this is our first year as the only conservation charity that Comrades is supporting. And we're very involved with that. And we're manning the water table for the first year. So the organization is very excited that we've got such an exposure on that side. Besides the sporting, sorry.
No, sorry. It sounds fantastic. I want to find out more about this running, like with a Big Five around you. Like, how is that managed? I mean,
it's not an easy situation. Skukuza Marathon is also one of the half marathons that does exactly the same. And the planning that comes in is in the early mornings, depending on obviously we have to wait for the weather if it's mist or anything. But we have the SANParks helicopter.
Okay.
And what the helicopter then does is that goes and doesn't clear, but identifies the route and ensures that there's no animals on the route. And every so many kilometers of the route, there is a rifled ranger.
I see.
And they stay there and are notified. And Skukuza is a little bit different because there you're running in Big Five territory all the time. With Marakele, half the marathon is in a non-Big Five section. You then go through a gate and you're in the Big Five section. So we've had instances where we've had to remove rhino off the running track. We've had a pride of lions sitting at an intersection.
Oh, dear.
And the problem is also you've got runners running up a hill. If an elephant's coming down the hill, there's no ways the elephant has right of way, and nobody's going to argue with that. So it is a challenge, but the runners absolutely love it. They enjoy being in nature, seeing what a national park looks like not from within your vehicle, but being a part of it.
And I suppose it's the extra thrill of it.
Racing a rhino.
It is.
And they can run.
We always say that
they can
run. No, rhinos are very fast. But we always tell everybody, run with somebody who's slower than you. Because at least then, you can get away from that. So
I like that.
Yes.
It is definitely, it's the experience of being in nature and doing something that you love. And it's the same with the mountain bike. We have a mountain bike event in Makala in June of every year. It's small races, they're not long, but it's the experience of being able to ride and participate in a national park is what the draw card is for a lot of these fundraisers.
And how does one get involved in these fundraisers, rather?
Yeah, what we normally do is we advertise on our website. There's always what events are taking place in the next couple of months, how to participate. So if you're looking at the sporting activities, then you will definitely see them on the website. If you're a SANParks Honorary Ranger, you will know from within our internal communications where help is needed. And you could go work at the water tables, participate in assisting with the cleanup of the marathon routes before the running starts. So from the sporting events, there's always advertising that goes out, and it's phenomenal.
And it's SANParks.org, right?
SANParksvolunteers.org.
Okay, got it.
That's our website, yeah.
Is it quite a community? I mean, do people like getting together because they're all like-minded? Do they become friends for life? Or how does that part of it work?
No, you do. You're joining an organization with like-minded people. When you then join a region where you live, you see those people on a regular basis because you're interacting with them both at meetings and on duties and activities that you're doing. And then when you go to a park, you go as a group. So it's like a second family. We call it our second family. And unfortunately, any family, if there's losses, you will see how the SANParks Honorary Rangers get together to support each other. It is definitely our second family. And we know that if we ever have any concerns within the organization, speak to one another. and you will find somebody understands what you're going through and can assist you. And like you say, you do make friends for life. We've got members who have been with the SANParks Honorary Rangers for over 40 years.
Wow.
And are still volunteering to this day. And we still socialize with them. And when people move from, say, Joburg down to the Cape, you lose the physical contact. But fortunately, with our virtual communication now, you still stay in contact. And they're always a critical part of your life. It is amazing, and you rely on each other when you go out into the bush because you're going into a wild environment. So you need to ensure that who you're with is somebody who you can get on with and you want to participate with because you're doing a lot of duties with them. We got to raise funds, and then we purchase certain items for SANParks. So we have what we call a wish list.
Okay.
The wish list system with SANParks is every park provides a list of approximately 10 items to the SANParks Honorary Rangers every year and says, we really could do with this. It's not in our budget, but we could do with this assistance in our park. We will then do a fundraising activity. We have activities such as bush camps. So you're in the middle of the bush, you go with a ranger for walks and game drives, no other vehicles on the road. And I'm sure anybody who's ever gone in a park will see when you go to a sighting, it's almost quite difficult to see the animals because of the traffic. Now you've got your own vehicle, your own ranger in the middle of the bush. We're on roads that no other tourist is allowed to drive on. We do those activities. One of our biggest fundraising activities, believe it or not, is the Kruger Trail. You hike from the northern Kruger, Crook's Corner, all the way down to Crocodile Bridge.
Oh, dear.
It's
a Crocodile Bridge, the home of hippos.
Wow.
So it's a 6-week hike, but you only do 2 weeks a year in the winter months. So you do over a 3-year period, you do a week at a time, you camp in the middle of the bush, you have water supplied, you carry your food, you carry your own backpacks, everything you require for that week, you carry. You don't have a vehicle with you because you're working through the... That Kruger Trail is so popular that we have an auction for the first week. If you win the auction, you can purchase the other 5 weeks. And the auctions, the bidding that goes on the auctions is it's staggering. The amount of money people would pay to walk in wildlife and to be able to be a part of nature itself is amazing. And those kind of activities raise funds for us. And then we can then take those funds, purchase an asset, and donate it to SANParks from that side. So that is how we get in with the fundraising activities. And then also, if there's like maintenance work to be done, Cape Townians will know very well the hiking paths on Table Mountain. Recently, obviously, there's been a lot of publicity around the negativity of the muggings on Table Mountain. But there's a team of canines and rangers down there called SEAM, which is your sea, air, and mountain. And they have dogs which are specifically trained to be able to track down intruders, to assist the hikers. It's a fairly new, it's been only going for a couple of years. But the SANParks Honorary Rangers were instrumental in getting the kennels upgraded and purchasing all the dogs for SANParks.
Oh, wow.
Dogs are purchased trained, and then they donate them to SANParks, and the rangers who SANParks have trained will then take over the ownership of the dog and be able to assist in the parks. And we've also had a recent collaboration with Friends of Table Mountain, SANParks, and the SANParks Honorary Rangers to upgrade the hiking paths and some of the trails. So a lot of work gets done on that. And these are the activities that we do. We get our name out there and people can see it. So from a fundraising activity, there's various activities we do around the country that anybody can participate in.
So, Jimmy, tell me a bit about the relationship between SANParks and the Honorary Rangers, and give me a few examples of how you assist SANParks in nature conservation.
Effectively, when we're on duty, we're considered SANParks employees.
Okay.
We have the same dress code as them, the same attire, and we wear the same emblem. So a visitor does not know the difference between a SANParks employee and a SANParks Honorary Ranger.
Okay.
We do the same work. With the park management, if they have issues, recently, I think a lot of the items that we would have seen in terms of storms with trees falling down, roads washing away, they would also call in the Honorary Rangers and say, we need some assistance in maintenance. And the team would go in, remove trees for them, take out, making sure that the roads are usable. We do a lot of verge clearing. So on the side of the road, you want to have at least a couple meters into the bush where the grass is not very high. So if an animal's coming out and crossing the road, you don't get this enormous shock at the last minute when it steps in the road. You've got a bit of visibility. Litter patrols are our biggest issue. People do not understand what the biggest litter item is in the Kruger National Park. Everybody, when we ask that question, everybody says plastic bottles.
Yeah.
That would have been my guess. Plastic bottles, maybe like cans or something.
Unfortunately not. It is soiled diapers.
Wow.
For some reason, people don't throw out their plastic bottles, but they seem to change diapers in the car, and obviously they don't have a bag that seals it or something, and it goes out the window.
Sure.
And unfortunately...
I'm trying to comprehend this. I have a 6-month-old, and I'm
all about diapers.
Yeah, and I'm sort of thinking about the situation where you throw the diaper out of the window. There you go, Mr. Ryan.
Yeah. So the SANParks Honorary Rangers have the right when we're driving to pick up the litter within sight of the roadway. So there's services like that. For all of those who know Kruger National Park, there's Letaba, the Elephant Museum, the Elephant Hall. Some of our members go and sit there and provide educational talks to the visitors, answer their questions about the elephants and the big tuskers.
Okay.
And then we also do projects within the national parks itself. So there might be a project that SANPark says we want to rejuvenate a historical or a cultural view site. And the SANParks Honorary Rangers will raise the funds and go do that restoration on behalf of SANParks. So the duties and the activities are wide and varied. It all depends on what SANParks requires. And from beach patrols, there's Pelican Watch on Malgas in the West Coast National Park. They remove fishing nets out of Titsikama, the long lines. They go out with boats and remove all of that off there. So we take part in any activity where SANParks requires additional assistance, and then they don't have to then pay for it because our members are willing to volunteer to do it.
There's a lot of work to be done. The more you speaking, the more we can hear. And I'm sure there's some of our listeners that are definitely interested in joining. They're like, okay, this is something that I'd like to be a part of. So maybe you can just explain to us, what are the ways of getting involved then?
Certainly. If a member would like to join, I'd ask them to log on to our website, www.sanparksvolunteers.org, and have a look at a region in your area. That will then give you, and then you're welcome to attend as a visitor, as a guest, ask questions, and the region will then introduce you to what it's all about. You can then see exactly what is required, how much time is required, and if it is something you want to participate in from a membership perspective.
Okay.
For those who don't have the time to necessarily contribute towards servicing and providing assistance to SANParks, we have a long list of donors who provide a donation for any specific item that they feel is necessary to ensure that we provide a good service to SANParks. It could be, for example, buying dog food for the canines in an emergency fund, buying collars, Kong toys, etc., boots for rangers, backpacks, any of these kind of things. We get a lot of members who donate, and we have some very big donors that donate on a regular basis.
That's good to know.
To us, and it's fantastic to see because they can't participate in, but they do want to assist making a difference. And I think that is also the critical part on how to get involved. But it's not only physical activity. If people have the time and are willing to help administrative-wise, like I said, we always need assistance. There's always work to be done. And being a volunteer, it's very difficult running your own business and volunteering and spending time. It takes a lot of time. And our concerns are also that our members, to travel to a park, it's getting costly. So we have to find ways for members to participate within their areas where they reside.
Jimmy, there's a program for the youngsters. How can they get involved?
Yes, definitely. It's the Junior Honorary Rangers. Junior Honorary Rangers is a program for ages from 13 to 18 years old. Also, again, on the website, you'll have a link onto the Junior Honorary Rangers, where you can then see which regions have a Junior Honorary Ranger division. A lot of the activities are taking the juniors out to small activities, introducing them to wildlife reserves, recovery centers. And the kids' passion is so immense. They want to be part of it. They want to touch, feel, see. Theirs is visual. They don't want to sit in a classroom reading books necessarily. Although they do part of it as part of their program, they want to be out in the bush taking part in all these activities. And that's what we're saying is what we experienced recently with Outdoor Warehouse at the Strubens Valley is the group went out to the Outdoor Warehouse shop, and the idea was that the staff there said to them, we're going to learn how to pack a backpack for a hike.
Okay.
And what they said is, you've got free reign of the shop. Take anything off the shelf that you want. Wow. Here's your backpack. Go take anything that you want off the shelves and put it next to the backpack, and we'll start packing it. They had such a fantastic time because now they weren't being told, pack your heavy stuff at the bottom and your light stuff at top and all of these items. They were actually being physically shown by the staff of Outdoor Warehouse how best to pack it. And that's what it's all about for them. They want to participate. And the nice thing is, once you get to 18 years old, you automatically can then become a full honorary ranger.
Great.
Okay. There's obviously, you do different duties and activities, so there's a slight little training difference.
Yes.
But you've been through the process, you know what the organization's all about. And we encourage people to join the juniors because that's where your conservation needs need to start, is with our youngsters. If we encourage them at a younger age, we will get them hopefully participating all the way through life and understanding what it's all about.
Hooked for life. That's a great idea. Jimmy, you must have some really interesting stories to tell us. Like, even if it's, part of some of the fundraisers or maybe just in your, personal life, because I'm sure, being the CEO, you probably don't have so much time, but I'm sure that when you have time, you spend it outdoors. So maybe you can share some memorable moments with us.
Well, definitely. Thanks. There are definitely some interesting stories that come out, and you get some from other rangers. So some of them are my experiences, others are from other rangers.
Okay.
But things like you talk about is we're talking about the running, and we get a whole lot of runners who come back suddenly and said, I was doing this section of the race, and next minute the stick started moving in the road, and I wasn't sure what it was. I thought, no, there's something not quite right here. So they took a stop and had a moment, and next minute the stick shot off into the bush. And looking at what we took from the description of it, it was just a nice little black mamba crossing the road.
There we go.
In the middle of the race, And here you're running along the road and deciding, okay, well, you've got to be careful where I stand all the time. But being in nature, animals are incredible. In Kruger National Park at Auburn, they have a slight little badger problem. Now, badgers are well known for getting into anything.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how many locks you put on something, a badger, if it wants to get into something, it will. And a good friend of mine, a member, was staying there one night at 1 o'clock in the morning, round about there, heard a massive crash in the kitchen outside the unit. Woke up, went outside, had a look, and there the badgers, 2 of them, had taken the doors off the cupboards, but because it was locked, they ripped the hinges off.
Oh my
They
goodness.
ripped the hinges off.
They ripped the hinges off. This is how strong badgers are.
6-foot badgers with muscles looking like kangaroos.
It's unbelievable how strong they are. They ripped the hinges off. They got into the food, and nobody ever believes me when I tell them this. They took out 2 items of food. One was a box of cereal, and one was a liter of milk.
Wow.
That is it.
There's a badger conspiracy happening somewhere.
For breakfast.
They poured the cereal on the floor and they pierced the milk, and that's what they were eating. And it's nobody believes it, but that is what they do. Those are the fun stories. You obviously, every park has rules for a reason. And the reasons are for your own safety and for the tourist safety. You have elephants who come close to vehicles. And when an elephant is in musk, they're very difficult to manage. So we've had really close calls with elephants coming very close to vehicles, and people don't understand how to deal with it. And you watch some of them and you think, if you don't reverse that car now, you're going to end up on the other side of the road. And you try and get to them and encourage them to move out the way, get out of the way of that. Then we've had encounters with wild dogs. Going on walks, you turn around a corner and you get a rhino running out of the bush a few meters from you because you both get just a bigger fright as each other. The experiences you have by participating as a SANParks Honorary Ranger and being in nature are stories that you cannot actually describe to somebody unless you experience it yourself.
That's true.
It's an amazing experience. And like you said, unfortunately, we don't all get to experience it, but those who do encourage other members to go back into the bush, because you hear these stories and you think, that should be me. I want to be there, and you go back and you do work in the bush so that you can have these experiences.
It's amazing. Can you imagine a rhino a few meters from you? That explains the nappies. I mean,
I think so.
Also, the badger story is incredible. Fun fact, that's why they're not called goojers. Get it?
Very good. Very good.
That's like a 10 out of 10. The studio staff are shaking their heads now. I thought it was great.
I think that's called the dad joke.
Yes.
It is a daddy now.
I am working on it. So, Jimmy, you obviously have a big passion for the outdoors. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing if you did not. So tell us a bit about your favorite ways to enjoy the outdoors.
Thanks. From my side, it's the passion for the outdoors has been around for many years. It's not an easy situation being a volunteer in this position as well, because I do run my own accounting business. So I have that to deal with on a day-to-day basis. The passion for the outdoor, I think it's a release of stress from dealing with finances and taxes on a day-to-day basis. What I have always been passionate about is the ocean. Okay. I'm a scuba diver. I own a share of a business in Sedona Bay from scuba diving. And I've been teaching scuba diving for close on 20 years now. Oh, wow. So for me, that is a massive passion on the marine ecology, the marine conservation. How do we include that as part of our portfolio, also on the SANParks itself? Because a lot of people don't know that SANParks does have a lot of marine protected areas. And for us to participate in those, having my knowledge does help on that. And that is what I love. I enjoy being underwater, the peaceful environment, what you can actually experience underwater is phenomenal. In terms of being on land, I love the national parks. It's difficult to try and justify which park is a favorite. Each one has its own memories to it. Okay. I mean, when I first got elected onto the national committee, it was in 2018. Okay. And it was at a meeting in Mountain Zebra National Park. And the year before, the manager, the regional chairperson said, "We're having the meeting here in September. I promise you it's going to snow." And we thought, no, really, we don't need that. September 2018, the entire weekend, it snowed in the Mountain Zebra National Park and we froze. But you have those memories. And I've been involved in a lot of bush camps in Kalahari. We have a Loffies Dry bush camp there. Being out away from people where you're experiencing nature with a select number of guests is what I truly love and aspire to.
That's what people crave nowadays, to get out, get back to nature, to experience that. So it's a wonderful opportunity.
Most definitely. I mean, when you're in nature, you basically, it's like you said, you talk to the animals. You're out in nature, it's peaceful. It's, fortunately, I say this tongue in cheek, but a lot of our parks don't have cell phone signal. So when you're in a park, in the middle of the park, you can't get phone calls.
Yes.
You can't do emails. You're sitting there watching the animals, watching the birds, interacting with them, watching their behaviors. And it actually drains all the stress out of you while you're doing that. Yes, people work hard, but it's a different type of work. It's a work that you're passionate about and want to do. So it's not like a stressful type of work. And I think that's why a lot of members join, is because they understand they're giving back to nature, and they're also having their own lives enhanced by doing it as well.
And that's the thanks you get then. I mean, I'm pretty sure that a lot of this work is not seen by everyone, but it's that feeling that you have afterwards. I think that's the thank you.
It is. We don't do it actually for the appreciate. We like to be appreciated, but we don't do it for the getting thanks from everybody. The people are doing it because that is what they want to do. To be appreciated, yes, everybody wants to be, but you do so much behind the scenes that not everybody sees what you do. And I think things like our integrated report showcase what our members actually do and allows the public to experience what happens on a member's day-to-day activity in a park. And that's what it's all about. It's feeling that you've done something different and you've made a difference to somebody's life for the future.
And that's so massive and it's so significant. We've recorded a few episodes, by the way. If you need any more tips, go scroll through For Every Adventure on Spotify. And I just want to touch on one thing you mentioned, the lack of cell phone signal. Now, I'm sort of in the camp where camping is good, not too much glamping, just sort of keep yourself comfortable. If I remember correctly, Chanel, you are a glamper. Give me as many luxuries as you can. Or am I wrong, right?
Look, I've been in the bush with nothing. I do prefer a bit of glamping.
And, yeah. And Jimmy, are you more in the line of less is more when you're outside?
To a certain extent, but there's obviously certain things, luxuries I do have to have. Especially believe it or not, I don't take to heat very well.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So when I'm out in the bush, I need to keep cool.
Yes.
And one of the things that goes with me and that has to have power and is my ice machine.
Yeah, we've got a few solutions coming up in regards to that, so just stay tuned. and any tips from your side that you can share with the listeners when going outside? Remember this, Yeah,
the main thing basically is, if you're out in nature, number one, South Africa is known for the sun.
Yeah.
Keep yourself well protected.
Tell me about it.
A good hat, a good sunblock, long sleeve light shirts, because even if you're sitting outside nighttime for the mosquitoes, having that. Good hiking boots, always a necessity if you're out walking. And also, what people also forget is a good pair of socks. Yes, you can have the best boots, but if you don't have a decent pair of socks, your feet are going to get worn out very quickly.
Yes.
So yes, having a look at all those items when you're camping. If you're going to be doing work like we do with the SANParks Honorary Rangers, driving around, we always advise our members, if you're driving around, keep water containers in your car, keep breakdown kits, your tire tracks for recovery of vehicles in mud. Keep all of that in your car, because you never know when you're going to come across somebody who's distressed and needs assistance. And the first thing that we say when somebody's distressed is they need something to drink, and that's always water. Give them some water and make sure you've got it in your car. And also important for us is books. Believe it or not,
Okay.
it's how many times you're driving around a park and a tourist stops and asks you, "What is that bird?" Now, if you're not a birder, it's an LBJ. So it's either a little brown job or a large brown job.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, and you.
Yes, sir, that's a rhino.
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah. So having a book in your car, so having all of these little things does help.
Okay.
Camping, definitely, it's like you say, some people like the glamping. I'm torn in between with my partner.
Okay.
She likes the glamping. I like a little bit more rustic. So it's a bit of a toss-up which way it goes. So she normally gets the duvet on the bed.
Okay.
I get the mattress on the floor. So it's be comfortable and make sure that you have a look at the requirements for any camping outdoor. And I know Outdoor Warehouse has very good leaflets on your hiking, your camping, what you should be taking as a checklist and the item checklist. Those I keep with me all the time because it's a phenomenal reminder of what you might have left out of your packing.
Yeah, and they've got the best advice as well, even, to the socks. So it's good to know that there's someone that can help you beforehand. So always refer back to Outdoor Warehouse.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
100%.
We appreciated it. This was a fun conversation. Stick around. We have an ice machine to discuss.
For every adventure, where we explore all the best in outdoor adventures.
Discover the ultimate outdoor adventure at Outdoor Warehouse, your go-to one-stop destination for top quality outdoor gear and apparel. Become a rewards member today and receive exclusive member-only savings on top brands, access to new product launches, and automatic competition entries. Sign up at one of our 37 stores nationwide or online and let the adventure begin. Outdoor Warehouse. For every adventure. We have had a fantastic conversation with Jimmy so far, but we're not done yet because we've got a few suggestions for you if you're going to find yourself in a park somewhere outdoors. And the first thing, one of the first things you spoke about, Jimmy, is that ice machine. Is there a story behind that? Is there a reason why the ice machine is so important?
For me, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, where you're out in the bush, especially in places like the Lowveld, where the temperatures get up to 40 to 45 degrees in summer.
Lekker man.
Once you've been working for just a couple of hours outside, there's no ways that your conventional fridges can freeze that quickly. And the ice machines that we take with us, they have to work overtime because the ice is not even just for drinks. But people walk past them and actually take a handful of ice cubes out to eat the ice cubes while they're cooling down. And then you have the rest that goes into obviously the drinks and to rehydrate yourself afterwards to go back and carry on working. But without that, it's now part of my normal camping routine, not only when I do duty, but when we go away as a family. And I have to argue with the kids are saying, "Where's the ice for my drink?" I know, we've eaten it.
There we go.
Now I'm actually getting to the point where I have to take cubes out, put it back in the freezer so we've got enough for drinks. But it's phenomenal in the heat. It just helps cool you down so quickly, and they work phenomenally. They produce ice so quickly, which is exactly what you need out when you got limited time.
Yeah, National Luna has a few great products when it comes to ice machines and a few big names. Outdoorwarehouse.co.za, go check it out. And also maybe when you're on the trail, get a Trail Boss. They have a few nice inverter products you can choose from that could keep that ice machine running on the road, which is even better.
Yeah, it most definitely. It's with your inverters as well. I mean, with a lot of our activities start either very early in the morning and may go into the evenings. And the inverters also help with your work lights. Easy to plug in a work light into an inverter, very quick to charge when you're back at the camp. But then while you're driving around using that inverter, it helps out in the bush because you just put it in the back of your car and connects up to a whole lot of devices. And it doesn't drain quickly either. It gives you a good few hours of power.
We've learned now that planning is absolutely essential. So if you should break down in the middle of nowhere in the bush, there's a couple of kits also available there at Outdoor Warehouse that you can, sort of have on hand. There's like a tire repair kit from Trail Boss, which I suppose is also quite an important thing. I mean, what happens if you're stuck there in the middle of nowhere with no cell reception? Do you just wait for a ranger? I'm wondering.
Generally, yes. You actually, just before this podcast today, we're on a group on the Kruger Park, and there was a message that came out that a tourist had broken down on the side of the road and had no cell phone signal. So the vehicle that had seen it had gone on till they got cell phone signal and reported it, and they sent a ranger to go help with the car.
Okay.
But then again, like you say, is you don't know what the problem is. The rain has come a lot lately, and a lot of our national parks are dirt roads. They're not tar.
Yes.
So until the rangers work on closing off the roads in certain areas if it's impossible. But there's areas that they may not have been down. So you get tourists who go down a dirt road, it's flooded from a low-lying bridge at river, and not everybody has a 4x4 and they get stuck. So we recommend that people have a tow rope, a kinetic tow rope with shackles, heavy-duty shackles, just to help get people out of a situation where they are, to be able to either drive on, or you have to leave them with their vehicle and go to a signal area to provide assistance to them. We also use the tracks, the mud tracks that you have, that if your tires are stuck in, you can put them under the wheels. Then they can drive over them. It's like a secure area, but it does help having that available. And most SANParks honorary rangers who are doing work in the parks do have 4x4 vehicles that are able to take this kind of equipment in their cars. So it is beneficial. Just, you never know. It's that Murphy's Law. If you don't have it, you need it.
Yes.
If you have it, you never need it. It's good to be prepared.
Fantastic. I think to close this off, if there's someone listening now, maybe a youngster or someone who is passionate about nature and not really sure if they want to do this, how would you motivate someone to come outside, join this great cause?
It's always a challenge. Nowadays we compete with so many different aspects in life. Should I say the video gaming, trying to get people away from that and kids away from that is what our primary challenge is.
Yes, that makes sense.
And then also a lot of kids are at school now and they're playing school sports. So how do we encourage them to also participate in nature conservation? So what we do is we actually go to schools and we start doing talks at schools and getting kids involved. And then if we see that kids have a passion, that this is maybe something they want to do long term, then we invite them to the activities that we do, to come and see. You don't have to join, but just come see what the activity is all about. Not everybody in life wants to work with dogs, but everybody has a passion about being outdoors. And by joining the SANParks Honorary Rangers, that we are so diverse that you can find your passion in any field. If it's marine, we've got a lot of marine areas. If it's working with dogs, we help with the canines. If it's just to do with birds, insects, pangolins, what is happening with rhino, we do something with everything.
Okay.
And this, by joining the Junior Honorary Rangers or even the SANParks Honorary Rangers, you will be given access to see what we do and what is available, and you can then be encouraged to take that further.
Fantastic. There you have it.
Thank you so much, Jimmy Telle. It's been wonderful speaking to you and learning more. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure, and thank you very much for the opportunity. And we really do appreciate being showcased. I hope if anybody is listening and you're interested in joining, please feel free. We're open for business and we want as many members as possible.
We'll see you out there in SANParks.
Will do. Thank you very much for the time.
Well, thanks for listening. As always, I enjoyed this conversation so much. Jimmy's such an insightful guy,
Yes.
a man with a lot of passion, and I hope you as a listener is inspired to go outside and to join this movement or join the SANParks Honorary Rangers. The juniors, there's a place for you too. Remember, we're on Spotify and we're on Apple. Do not miss an episode. Go follow us there on social media. And again, thanks a lot to Outdoor Warehouse. Any products we discussed, you can find at outdoorwarehouse.co.za.
For every adventure.
Stay in the loop on the best outdoor adventures on the For Every Adventure podcast with Outdoor Warehouse.